Student loan debt has skyrocketed in recent decades. Americans now owe almost $1.7 trillion for their higher education. This is higher than every other category of debt except mortgage debt. Even worse, outstanding college loans grow 6 times faster than the United States economy every year. This is despite drastic increases in federal student aid. As a growing percentage of high school grads attend college, this number will probably continue to rise. While different factors affect borrowing for college, Americans across the board have been impacted. College tuition prices at public universities have almost tripled since 1980, while Americans' paychecks have flatlined. College students from lower income families are more likely to have debt, but students from families with higher tax brackets are the fastest growing group that has to take out loans to pay for college. Demographics also play into the student loan crisis. Different races have different average student loan balances. African Americans have the highest balances, followed by white, Hispanic, and Asian Americans. Asian Americans are most likely to graduate with no debt at all, while African Americans are the least likely. Women have higher student loan balances than men, although this may be because they're more likely to attend college and pursue postgraduate degrees. On an individual basis, the picture becomes even darker. College debt is acting as an anchor, holding down younger generations from building wealth. Graduates with debt are less likely to start businesses, buy homes, buy cars, get married, have children, and save for retirement. This results in lower economic growth and a lower standard of living than previous generations. Before we get started, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more political analyses. The student debt crisis has led to many competing ideas on how to resolve the issue. To narrow down the number of solutions, we'll be looking at the Democratic and Republican Party platforms. These documents contain a list of priorities that policymakers believe represent the will of the party. First, we'll go over the Democratic Party's positions on the student debt crisis and the research to support it. After that, we'll review the Republican Party's policies on the issue and present the supporting evidence. Finally, we'll look at areas of agreement. The Democratic Party believes in increased federal aid and debt forgiveness to solve the student loan crisis. Democrats support providing free tuition for any student from a family earning less than $125,000 a year, and student debt forgiveness of up to $10,000 per borrower per year. They also want to double Pell Grant awards and programs for first-generation college students. Finally, the Democratic Party believes in increasing federal support for colleges. They particularly highlight the need to support historically black colleges and universities. Policymakers think that an increase in college enrollment is beneficial for raising people out of poverty, but those lower income families historically lack the financial support for students to succeed. Policymakers in the Democratic Party support their arguments with research on students from low-income families. These households have difficulty financially supporting children who go to college, which can lead to higher rates of borrowing and dropping out. 38% of students who drop out do so for financial reasons. Additionally, students who drop out of college are the most likely group to default on their student loans. 77% of low-income students are required to borrow to attend college and borrow more on average than their wealthier classmates. This suggests lower-income students are more likely to accrue debt without finishing college or finish college in a difficult financial position. The Democratic Party also points to falling state funding as a source of tuition increases. From 2008 to 2018, state funding for public colleges dropped by $6.6 billion annually. Prices at public colleges tend to rise faster when the flow of state dollars reduces. This exacerbates the student debt crisis since students from poorer families tend to go to public colleges. The Republican Party believes that increased federal funding and a lack of competition are the key drivers of the student debt crisis. Their platform calls for an end to federal student loans and reduced federal aid for higher institutions. Republicans believe that private institutions will not lend out large sums of money that result in default for graduates receiving degrees with low income potential. They theorize it would also reduce tuition rates that are artificially increased by federal aid. Republicans believe that federal regulations unnecessarily raise prices. Each federal regulation in higher education should be analyzed and determined if it's worth the additional cost to students. Policymakers also believe that states should be allowed to determine accreditation standards themselves. By removing federal interference in higher education, the Republican Party maintains that colleges will become more efficient and be able to offer lower tuition rates. Policymakers in the Republican Party support their policies with research on the impact of federal government involvement in colleges. The federal government accounts for 86% of all student aid through grants and loans. This may allow more students to attend college, but it also raises tuition. For every $1 of federal student aid, colleges increase tuition rates by 65 cents. Republicans point to college prices skyrocketing after the passage of the Middle Income Student Assistance Act of 1978. Prior to the act, financial aid was virtually non-existent, but tuition prices were constant. The Republican Party also points to research on university regulation and accreditation. There are approximately 600 statutes and regulations higher education must adhere to. The time it takes to adhere to these regulations raises the cost of colleges and takes away time professors have for students. A study commissioned by 13 colleges found compliance to regulation represents 3 to 11% of the university's operating expenses. Extrapolating these findings across higher education results in a total estimated cost of $27 billion a year. The biggest area of compromise has to do with non-four-year college alternatives. Both Democrats and Republicans believe in supporting trade schools, community colleges, apprenticeships, and on-the-job learning. While a broad federal response has not occurred yet, red and blue states are taking things into their own hands. 17 states currently provide free tuition at certain community colleges and technical schools for their citizens. This can be beneficial for students who receive not only technical certifications and associate degrees, but also those who attend community college for 2 years and transfer into a 4-year university. It also helps shift demand away from 4-year institutions, which may limit the rise in tuition prices. Free community college programs are made possible by the lower cost of tuition and the shorter duration of school. The average cost to receive a 2-year associate degree is around $33,000, while a 4-year in-state public school will cost around $100,000. Grads from community and technical colleges will enter the workforce sooner and with less debt than their traditional graduate peers. That said, associate degree holders command lower salaries and have a slightly higher unemployment rate on average. Fortunately, there are many lucrative trades necessary to the economy. Plumbers, electricians, home inspectors, drafters, aviation maintainers, dental hygienists, and construction managers all make more than $50,000 a year on average. Mortgage brokers and real estate agents can make commissions over 6 figures after they become licensed. There are also many companies that provide on-the-job training or certification programs. Opportunities such as Google's career certifications take about 6 months to complete and provide training for high-demand fields like data analytics and IT. With many options beyond traditional 4-year college, America's graduating high school students can carve out a future for themselves without ending up with tens of thousands of dollars in debt. Although Republicans and Democrats may disagree on many solutions, supporting community and technical colleges seems to be the most likely road forward. Do you think this will be enough to end the student debt crisis? Are there other solutions that neither party has addressed? Comment your favorite solutions down below, and don't forget to share, like, and subscribe for more political analyses on just the issues. Thank you for watching, and have a great day.